somewhere further away. Found myself praying for a nightmare, just to see if I could still get scared. In the wicked feeds of outside sound, an empty chest. All the promises of films and first cause nights of magic overrun with blank pages, the bloody roads of Shakespearean tragic. Shakespearean tragic.
It's me, and now we're gonna go right over to Essex. Well, Manchester. How's it going, Chloe? It's been a while. You've been back in the UK for some time now, eh?
Yeah, I left Berlin in 2018. So yeah, I've been back in the UK for a couple of years now. But yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, been doing well. Unfortunately, not a lot of music happening at the moment, which is
No.
yeah, a bit of a pity. But it's giving us time to do fun things like this, and why not?
Not much else to be doing, is there? So it's nice to be able to have some kind of form of live streams and things like that. It's it's as good as it gets, isn't it? So
Well,
it's good to do.
exactly. I think it's this kind of thing is still going to take place even after this virus has seen its last day. I think we're still going to be doing this because it really kind of connects like different global parts of the world, and
Yeah,
being
for
able
sure.
to kind of reach particular markets and doing this is going to be very useful, because if
Absolutely.
if you're going to be heading over to the States, or you want to do tours to Australia or whatever, then doing a podcast like this in the country that you want to tour to will only help.
Yeah, definitely. And it could even be something, live streaming a live gig, in the same way that you'd get sort of concert videos and things like that. And that would also potentially be an option. So even though it would be a real gig with actual real life people all in the same room, wow, imagine that. And then live streaming that could also be something that happens.
Absolutely. Um, wow, we've got Adeth McKill. I'm butchering that name. I'm really sorry. Hallo aus Berlin. Willkommen in unserem Wohnzimmer, Chloe. So yeah, you're being watched.
Vielen Dank.
We've got 4 viewers currently, which is great. Guys, send us a message. Give us a few questions if you want. But yeah, this is great. I like doing these things, and you can always sort of go and watch back at some of the interviews, and like the first 1 or 2 I did were just not good.
So it's all a learning process, isn't it? We're figuring out how to do all of these things as we go along. So
there was not much progress in the first 2. But it's got a little better. And I mean, how have you been? How's it been back in the UK? How from a music point of view? I know you were in Orlando recently, and the
Yeah, I mean
States.
it's just been a real weird. I mean, for everyone, it's been a really weird and just disastrous time. And it's very strange because this time last year I was on that US tour,
Yeah,
um, which was a bit of a killer. The first, like last week, I was thinking, and it's not a productive way to think about things, obviously, but I was like, oh, this time last year I was, doing something that I'd literally always dreamed of, and now,
no, I'm
I'm
not.
stuck. I'm stuck in the flat, and I appreciate, it's still I'm still very lucky and very privileged to have been able to do that in the first place. But it is very odd to kind of look back. This time last year I was in America. This time 2 years ago I was doing a UK tour with another musician who I'm very good friends with, and it's just like, how can so much change? How can you go from playing sort of 50, 60 gigs a year to I've not played one gig this year
It's
because
it's horrific.
due for a UK tour in March, a Canadian tour in May, and obviously none of that could happen.
Oh,
So
it's horrific. It's horrific. Um, and there's nothing that one can do. And I mean, you're lucky you just started a new job. Not entirely sure
yeah. So
what you're doing, but what is the new
yeah, I
job?
mean it's just I'm in a very privileged position, and it's kind of just trying to, you know, count your blessings where you
Yeah,
can. It's like, okay, can't I'm not doing X, Y, and Z, and I may have been doing X, Y, and Z this time last year,
yeah,
but ultimately, there are lots of people in far worse positions. So, you know,
totally.
just keep on keeping on, I guess.
No, absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of musicians here who are on visas are not allowed to do anything else but be a musician. And what can they do? Like they're just
Mm,
stuck in this position where you can't do any work. And for me, that's like surely the jobs that even people who are on a music visa or a performance visa can do in this kind of current strange period of time. But
mm.
apparently, no, they're not allowed to do anything, and that's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's interesting they've not been a bit more kind of flexible with the rules.
Yeah, I mean, this is a once in 100-year event, and you'd think that people would be
We hope.
yeah, yeah, we hope. But yeah, you'd think people would be a little bit flexible in the government to kind of get these people doing some sort of work, making a little bit of additional money and getting that money back into circulation.
Mm.
But to have hundreds of musicians sitting here not being able to do anything, I find it, it's very unsettling.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
Um, but yeah, how was America? Like, what did you do? Where did you go? And
So it was all the whole tour was kind of based around a festival called Fest, which happens in Gainesville, Florida. So started in Florida, played some gigs in Orlando, St. Petersburg, which is kind of Tampa Bay
St.
area.
Pete's.
Then had the weekend in Gainesville for the festival itself. And then from there went up the East Coast. So it was Atlanta, somewhere in South Carolina. I can't remember where, which isn't great of me. Richmond in Virginia,
Wow,
Baltimore, and finished up in Jersey City in New
wow,
Jersey. So it was a hell of a 2 weeks.
that's a lot of ground
Yeah,
to cover, huh?
quite the experience. Yeah, I think it was about 1,200 miles, I think, in the end. Um, so yeah, proper East Coast road trip.
To get in a van and like do the whole van living experience.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was just a car. um, but there were only there. It was myself and Arms and Hearts, who my best friend Steve
Oh,
plays as
cool.
Arms and Hearts, and we had our friend Ada along because Steve didn't have his driving license at the time, and it was really expensive for me to hire a car because I wasn't, well, I'm still not 25.
Yeah.
So we managed to get Ada along. She was really keen to do it. She's like best tour manager ever. So yeah, we just had such an amazing trip.
That's great. That's great. We've got a question here from Luke Roberge.
Okay, so as a heads up, Luke Roberge is my flatmate, which is very interesting because he is literally in the other room. So I'm hesitant to hear what this question is.
What artists inspire you in terms of your songwriting? Would love to know.
Okay, he's being reasonable.
Yeah, Luke, you can ask other questions. No, don't.
No, yeah, Luke, that's enough for this evening, I think. I think he's probably I'm detecting a hint of sarcasm from him, but I'm going to answer the question properly. I mean, I'm a massive Bruce Springsteen fan, which, as someone who lives with me, he's very aware of. And I'd say he's probably one of the biggest influences on my songwriting, and probably the most consistent one over the last, I don't even know, 8 years maybe. So that's definitely a big one for me. As I've kind of got a bit older, I got really into the kind of riot girl movement. I got more into the more punky political stuff. So I think some of those influences have changed, although I do find it really hard to write political songs. I think some people just have a way of doing it, like Billy Bragg has a real knack of doing it, and I just can't translate my feelings in as good a way. But that's something I'm trying to work on a bit, especially given the current times.
Protest songs. They're some of the best songs.
At least socially aware.
Yeah.
You know?
Socially aware and just kind of protesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's some great artists out there, but Bruce Springsteen for sure. What a prolific songwriter.
Yeah, and I mean he's just brought out a new album 2 weeks ago, and he's in his early 70s now, and he's still writing songs that were as good as songs on Born to Run.
Oh, classics, absolute classics.
It's just unreal.
The E Street Band, Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band. Wow.
Yeah.
There's really got some incredible albums.
Yeah, for sure.
Amber Barnes Yates, when you're allowed to, where do you want to go on tour next?
Well, I'd like to reschedule the tours that I was supposed to go on earlier on this year. So I mean, I don't have much faith that I'll be going to Canada early next year, to be honest. But that would be something that I'd like to reschedule and make that happen. And also even the UK tour that we were due to go on, as myself, KEMF and Sam from Mixtape Saints, we were supposed to go on a short UK run, and the London date had all but sold out, and it was kind of, the ball was really rolling on that, and then obviously the inevitable happened. So again, like, I'd really like that to happen again, partly because they're two good friends and I know we'll just have like the best time together, and also because we were due to have some really busy good gigs on that run. So it's not the most exotic thing in the world, but my main priority is rescheduling the ones that were cancelled.
Getting those back up and running. Yeah, Canada would be great. Have you been to Canada before?
Yeah, I've never been. No.
Oof. There's some great hotspots, and I mean especially Toronto. Like, Toronto is one of the key grounds there, and then obviously Mississauga just outside Toronto. We
were starting in Toronto and moving across to I can't even remember where we were going, but we were finishing in Montreal for a festival, and then fly, and then we were going to do like an overnight drive from Montreal to Toronto and fly back.
How big is your suitcase?
You learn to travel
fit
very
in there.
light.
No, well, if I travel in the suitcase, it won't be very light.
I only need approximately 2 t-shirts and a pair of jeans, so I'm sure we can figure something out.
Yeah, I have to lose a whole bunch of weight. No jokes. No, that'll be great. I think a tour through Canada. What a pleasure to do. A great country. I think great country. What else is there? Oh, up until this whole virus came along, what has been your favorite venue and your favorite places to play in?
Ooh, that is a good question. I mean, it's maybe a bit of a cop out of an answer, but I've always had very good gigs in Manchester. You know, it's kind of the hometown show at this point. And I played at, this was a few years ago, but I played at the Castle for an EP launch. It was a full band gig, sold it out. Probably ended up squeezing in a few more people than we were actually allowed to squeeze in. And
As you
it
do.
was just such a killer night. It was so good. And I actually got the Castle, the venue's logo tattooed on my ankle with my bass player, because we just had, it was such a highlight.
Jeez.
So that was definitely, the Castle in Manchester is definitely up there with one of my favourite venues to play.
I'll have to research that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like the venue itself is just in the back of the bar, basically. It's about an 80 cap room.
Those are often the best.
Nothing. Yeah. Yeah, so good. Just small, sweaty, crowded. I mean, it's the worst. It's the worst thing in the world to imagine at the moment, isn't it?
Absolute worst. I could not want to be put in a room like that.
For sure not.
unless you want to wear one of those like full on like
Like
those
hazmat suits.
hazmat suits, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember some of the shows I was doing here in Berlin. That was what was the two that I did in Neukölln, but it was during the Fête de la Musique, and just the sheer amount of people, literally just packing these small little rooms,
Like wall to
wall, sitting, standing, everywhere. Just those are the best. I mean, the bigger venues you find it a bit more difficult to fill, and then even when they're full, it's still like a bit cavernous, and like
Yeah.
the sound is a bit difficult to manage, and
It just becomes a bit of a different atmosphere,
very
doesn't it? Not
different.
necessarily any better or worse,
No.
but just different.
Yeah, exactly. And what else was I going to say? How long were you in Berlin? You were here for like a year or like 2 years or something.
Yeah, it was just a year, so it was basically my Erasmus year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think? What was your
It was definitely an interesting year for me personally, but from a music point of view, it was probably one of the best years I've had, to be honest. Just the way audiences are in Germany is very different to the UK. Just the kind of the culture around touring and how venues and promoters kind of treat musicians is just different level. I stayed in like some amazing hotels just for free because the promoters were putting you up somewhere, and that's just at this level as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just unbelievable, and you would never ever get that in the UK.
For sure.
So, or like, it'd be pretty rare, and it's obviously really lovely when people offer up their sofas and things like that, and that's so lovely when people do that. But Germany, I just found that there was just an extra level of everything. And I found audiences were much quieter, kind of would just listen a bit more closely, which I understand some of that's going to be, language barrier things as well. But there was still, I don't know, it just felt like there was a bit more I don't want to like slate on UK crowds, but it just felt like there was a little bit more respect. Um, and I got to play with some artists that I'd kind of listened to a lot as a teenager and who I'd never thought I'd ever kind of cross their paths. So I ended up supporting people like Beans on Toast and Emily Barker at sort of 200-300 cap venues
Wow.
in a country that I wasn't even from, you know.
That's
So
incredible.
is and I think I just got some opportunities there that I would not have managed to get in the UK, although might be able to now because I managed to do it in Germany.
Sure.
So I think it was just a really good boost. And I met some really lovely people, yourself included.
Oh,
And I
stop it.
played with a punk band for a little bit, which was just like a nice outlet. We never gigged or anything, but had lots of rehearsals and wrote some stuff together.
That's
So
great.
that was just like a nice extra thing to be doing alongside my normal stuff. So yeah, it was definitely it was quite a it was just a good year creatively and in terms of taking things up to the next level, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can get the city back to where it was. It's
Yeah,
going to take a while,
absolutely.
I think, for all of this to settle. But yeah. Well, I'm glad you found it to be a good experience. And I think a lot of people do find the city to be kind of I don't know, it's sort of easier to play in, or um, I suppose it's just people are just used to that kind of level, you know. Oh, is that me?
Sorry, I think my fire alarm just went off, I think.
People having parties. Um, oh, what about playing a song? Do you think that's something
Yeah,
that we can try and manage to attempt?
yeah, for sure. I'm gonna have to grab my guitar. I don't know how in tune it will be. Just give me a second.
It's just a thought to see if it'll work.
Yeah, I might have to turn my microphone sensitivity down a little bit because is it okay if I try a new song maybe?
Yeah, sure.
That is mainly a warning that I may well forget the words because it's
W-
new.
we expect that.
No one will know it anyway, so it's fine. I heard you crawling up the walls. Oh, friend, I am too. I heard you bought yourself a house, but the move wasn't for you and me. I'm just readying myself so I can get gone. Have you looked at last year? I can't believe the time there was ever a moment that I'd opt out of that line. If I saw you then and knew me now, we wouldn't believe. But I don't know you now. You only remember how I could be, and you don't know me now. And I only remember how you tried so desperately. Well, I wasn't very fair and you were good. It's true, we have both lost in love, learned a lesson or two. But if I was in the wrong, were you in the wrong? We weren't alone. And you can look at that reflection, but you won't see me. And I can look at the reflection, it won't show me how to be. And the truth don't want to be found. You can look, but you never can see. But I don't know you now. You only remember how I could be, and you don't know me now. And I only remember how you tried so desperately. that you have known me for many, many years. But when I look into your eyes, see no recognition here. Yeah, sorry, I've still not managed to work out how to write a happy one, but maybe that can be my project for lockdown too. Learn how to write a happy song.
Good luck. Yeah, it's good. It's lovely, lovely. Good to see that you're writing more. I think these sorts of periods can either create a whole bunch of songs or nothing, depending on.
I'll be honest. The first lockdown, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I'm in my flat all day, every day. There's no kind of, aside from the sort of obvious things in terms of what's happening in the world, like what do you write about? And also, is it my place to write about certain things and things like that? But kind of the second time round, I think it will be, I don't know. I think we all needed a bit of time to adjust to the new normal.
Yeah.
And I think some people were really, really productive the first time round, and I'd look at people who were managing to write lots and lots and recording things and just kind of getting stuff done, and feeling a little bit bad about it almost, and kind of being like, oh well, why aren't I? I've got all this free time that, to an extent, you kind of want all that free time to be able to dedicate to one thing or another.
For sure.
But when what that free time has come out of, I don't think anyone should be too hard on themselves for not outputting loads of songs. But
yeah,
I think just kind of adjusted to it a bit. And
yeah, I
been able
think
to write as a result.
absolutely. I mean, I think, I myself, I've gone through periods where like I was really, really productive in the beginning, and then just went through months of just like, oh no, I can't, because it just plays in your mind all the time. Even though like we went through summer and all that sort of stuff, which was great, you still know that like there's this crazy virus doing its thing, and at some point or another you're gonna go back into another like hard lockdown,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just your mind will play tricks on you all the time, and it's just weird.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think it's way more unproductive to beat yourself up about that than just kind of accepting that, all right, this is okay. We need to readjust to this. This is a hell of a period to even try and transition into, and you're going to do that in your own time.
Totally.
And fortunately for me, that has been my experience of it. I've kind of, as I said, nothing at the beginning, quite a lot now.
Yeah.
That will change again. It's the kind of thing that ebbs and flows a lot anyway, for me personally. Sure. But yeah, I think we've all got to be a bit kinder to ourselves as well as each other.
Exactly. But yeah. So that's well, it's been great to have you with us on the show. And
thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, like good to be getting back into this, and sort of figuring out a few things. I've got quite a few people in Toronto, funny enough, who are interested in coming on to do some of these, and I thought that would be quite nice, just to kind of start focusing on like particular areas, and
yeah, for sure.
That would be quite cool to actually sort of have a little bit of a market growing in particular areas, and then bring people
little
on,
hubs around the world.
Yeah. Because to try and pick like musicians from everywhere, it's a little bit of a shotgun approach. So I'm thinking obviously Berlin, London, and in the sort of surrounding area there, and that sort of thing, and then Toronto as another place, and then kind of building up, and that in that way the audience will also start growing, which is what one needs.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything you want to say to those people out there who are watching?
Thanks for watching, I guess.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Great to have you on, and I will probably play out with another song. What do you? What song do you think we should play for these people while we?
What did we say earlier? We were talking about anything once, maybe?
Yeah, we didn't play that yet, so I will go ahead and play that. So here is Anything Once from Chloe Hawes. Great to have you with us, Chloe, and we'll see you.
Thanks very much.
See you again soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Take it easy. Look after yourself.
Yeah, you too, mate. See ya.
Cheers.
Chemicals, I breathe it all in. Blessed with bad luck, the inescapable. I know I regret it. If I survive tonight, try to forget it. Doesn't make any of it right. Lost my way, the night's gone by. Whisper reminders through broken window panes. I misplaced my parade on immoral nights where the devil joins my side, and all my angels, they take flight. Life is cheap, so dismiss it with the coolest of disregards. Anything worth